Welcome back to another episode of the Fundits. Essentially, it was a good game week 9 with the wild card working out beautifully. 96 points. A little nervous towards the end of it because Madison was the savior towards the end. KDB and Jesus, not owning the two of them, almost made it a very painful wild card. But everything worked out towards the end. Obviously, not having KDB this week again is a bit of a worry, along with Jesus. But the fixtures hopefully will work out in the way we expected them to, right? And before going ahead, I'm going to quickly take you through our Twitter, Instagram, and make sure you follow us on the Fundits Mini League. A lot of managers joining in recently. Let's take it to at least 100 before we move on to game week 12. So this is what my team looks like so far. Raya in goal, Cancelo, Trippier, James, Justin, Martinelli, Salah, Zaha, Madison, Haaland, and Tony. Mitrovic on my bench right now. Justin's in my team. I could flip this around in terms of Ward starting instead of Raya. If I do believe Newcastle, I have that threat to them. I could also eventually maybe then leave Justin on my bench if I don't want to triple up on Leicester assets, right? Those are just few of the moves I could consider over there. In terms of transfers, I think it seemed like a very safe game week. So, like I said, not owning the likes of KDB, Jesus, Foden potentially a little bit. Bowen hitting form, but still low ownership. Good differential, right? And I'll come to the differential in a bit. It does seem a little bit worrying, but I think it's a good time to maybe consolidate and save that transfer and maybe make two in the next week, which prepares you for game week 12 with the City and Arsenal blank. Helps you rotate the squad around a little bit longer. But just in case for the managers who want to potentially make a transfer and who want to have options for Mitrovic or best picks in midfield, I'm going to take you through a few of those in my live transfer page. I'll keep it a very short episode because I do not have much to discuss and I do not want to linger on and create panic before the deadline, right? So I'm going to quickly take you through the live transfers. So into I have 0.3 in my bank, so it's not really definitely something you'd want to look at. But Wilson is one of the picks. Looking at just Newcastle's fixtures, attacking threat, Isaac not being there, Brentford a good game, Everton in between, 7.2, someone you want to consider over there. Tony Marshall, I'm not really too convinced about him being a United fan, especially because even Ten Hag himself said that he still has to be managed from his injury. So that's something that we all need to consider very heavily before we look at a punt, right? We can't have or afford a midweek a punt based on a good midweek performance, especially in Europa. So I would probably be a little more considerate about that and look at the options available. I mean, yes, downgrading down to Solanke is still an option because, especially if you have two free transfers, you do not want to move your team, don't want to burn a transfer. Although Mitrovic might only be out for a week, you can maybe downgrade down to Solanke, keep cash in hand, and eventually look at upgrading your midfield, right? But the safe pick for me again, I think, would probably still be Wilson over there. I'm not even sure about the Leicester assets like Daka or anyone up ahead because Vardy seems to be back in the mix. Outside of these, what about the players to pick this game week, right? Again, we've always spoken about Kane and Spurs. So Brighton and Everton are the next players for them. And I think if you must downgrade or upgrade, I think still going between Salah and KDB there, at least in terms of a Son, is better. If you have him, hold on to him because I feel if you got Son into your team, this again Brighton, Everton, United, a tough one, but there is promise till game week 16, right? Tough ones being Liverpool and United. And United could go either way always, right? So I think holding on to a Son just makes sense right now. But if you're making fresh transfers, maybe getting him in after a game week, probably not the best move over there. Outside of this, let's look at now the differentials we need to look at in this game week. So the differentials for me this week, like I already mentioned, Bowen at 8.1, ownership under 5%. We've already spoken about the fixtures. Now probably is a good time to look at him in terms of Fulham, Southampton, Liverpool being a tough one, Bournemouth, Palace, and Leicester. And again, the game against United with these West Ham are always unpredictable, right? So it's great to probably consider him right now. Good differential pick, like I said. Apart from this, you have Coutinho playing Nottingham Forest this week. And just speaking about even a short term this week punt, although they do play Chelsea, it's Fulham, Brentford, Newcastle after that, right? So Coutinho at 6.7, 4.2% ownership. Another shout out for me over there to just tide through any confusion that you may have. You don't want Zaha, for example, in your team. You don't really trust Crystal Palace and you want to make a move over there, right? So why not look at Coutinho? Why not look at a Bowen if you already have a triple up of City, especially? Up top, you also have Watkins if you consider Coutinho. Yes, again, not been the most prolific this season, just 2 assists and a goal, but then the fixtures are looking like to could favor them, especially against Nottingham, who seem to be conceding quite a few goals. Definitely a good time for you to target him if you want a 1 week punt, especially in case of Mitrovic when you already have long term plans to take Mitrovic out. You don't really like him. You want to punt in for a week or two and then move on to other players. Outside of these three players, I was asked about Aubameyang, right? We already spoke about Marshall and I gave you my views. Aubameyang, I feel, is really expensive. Yes, he looks like he could be in the mix of Chelsea. He could go score a new manager, good fixtures, apart from United over there. But I feel at 9.1, you could better invest some money in midfield with the likes of Foden, Bowen, Madison if you don't have him, Zaha. Eventually down to Trossard as well in a week or two, right? So I think there's much more better options in midfield than in forwards. You might just get stuck with Aubameyang at 9.1. Now, quickly talking about captaincy, yes, Haaland is the best pick. Again, joking about early kickoff aside, I think he's almost becoming a no-brainer. Outside of Haaland, again, Madison, again, with the early kickoff against Bournemouth, does look like a good differential pick. If you're brave, you look at Madison. If you just want to not look at your team news too much and be affected by it, but definitely Haaland is the one. Outside of these, I don't see any great picks per se. I would, if you have Haaland and a Spurs asset, for example, I would still look at Haaland, even if you don't have Madison. So I think those are simple picks for me. Apart from that, anyway, like I said, I want to keep it a short episode. So thank you so much for watching this episode. In case you have any other further questions, please hit us up on Instagram and on Twitter, and I'll be happy to share any further thoughts that I might have in particular regarding any moves that I possibly haven't considered myself, right? Open to discussion. Best of luck this game week. We'll catch up in the next one. Cheers.